this misery. I put it off as long as I could. I had to do COVID tests and stuff. Jane's talking on the phone just above the stairs, so I might move us over here. I might move us over into here, so it's a little more peaceful, shall we say? Also, God knows what she's talking about. Probably me. That's what she generally talks about, I think. When I'm not around, I'm assuming she's just talking about me all the time. Oh, into the lovely pale blue light of the fan cave. Oh, did I leave that running all night? Yikes. I left my little friend running all night. Yeah. Oh my God, my hands are shaking. I'm freaking tired. Oh, so this morning, I look like I'm talking to you from a giant mug of coffee. So, if you don't do it, who will? It's true. Hello, Ivan. I'm going to go all the way back. Deepak Op, Yo David, right back at you, Deepak. Candice, Megan, Gary, Michael, Ivan, AKS, Marin, Megan, Trevor, Roxanne, Savannah, Kenny, Chelsea, Ryan again, Alex, Candice, I've done you, DJ. Hello, everybody. I can't do them all. Too many. Look at you. It's all you 33 people suddenly hurling yourselves at the YouTubes. So I had to do my COVID test today. What are you doing, dog? There's nothing. It's a cement floor. Oh, my God. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, this is the bane of my existence. The bane of my existence. She, for some reason, likes to dig up the floor right by the door there. Here she goes again. She's going to think about it, and then she's going to go like, well, he's sort of watching, so maybe that's her bottom, by the way. Isn't that a lovely shot of her bottom? Don't. Thank you. Keep moving. Nothing to see here. All right, so there you go. There's a little dog for you. I don't know. I say she's incomparably beautiful, and that she's beautiful until you compare her to any other dogs, and then she's not that pretty. Don't tell her I said that. So whereas this little fellow over here, that is a handsome gentleman, isn't it? Look at that. That's just, I just put there's a little Raspberry Pi on the back there. And I just wired him onto the top of this Meccano thing. Just to soup him up a little bit. Make him a little different. It's important to mod your bots. You know what I'm saying? Kind of mod the bots. With the doctors. Oh, you're at the doctors. Oh, yikes. Okay. But had to check into the fun place. Mary Lou, well, thank you very much for that. All right. I am mad jealous of the house your kids playing with all those gadgets and stuff. Yeah, you know the funny thing is, Baz, no interest at all. Honestly. So they were talking microscopes online in science class today. So and to do that, they had like a drawing of a microscope, and they were discussing the parts of it. And I was like, this is freaking ridiculous. So I went downstairs and I grabbed this massive binocular microscope that used to be in my father's office. And when he retired, I was like, I'll take that. And so I went in, I just dumped it on his desk, and the cable and 2 boxes of these prepared slides, with everything from animal brains to cat guts and all sorts of weird sciencey things to look at. And then I just left. That was it. I just walked in, dumped it on the desk, and left. And I could hear them just howling with laughter. They're like looking at stomachs and things and creeping each other out. And it lasted all of like 5 minutes. But you know what? He's going to remember what a freaking microscope is and some of the parts. So there you go. But yeah, he's not interested in the science at all. He says, he apologizes all the time. Like, I'm sorry, Daddy, I'm just not interested in this. I'm like, that's fine. I wasn't at his age either. I was only electronics. Electronics, television, film. I just wanted to watch Doctor Who, watch movies, all that kind of stuff. Bonjour, Francine. Comment ça va? J'espère vous êtes très bon. Oui, je pense. Ça, c'est un petit peu de français pour vous. Doctor Who, so good. I mean, I was a Tom Baker fan, as you probably can tell, because I don't know if you can tell, actually, because it's a bit dark, but that, my goggled wooden antler head is wearing my Doctor Who scarf right now. Can't wear it with the dog, because the dog just attacks it. So now, you know what? Impedidor asked me yesterday about technocracy, or technocracy. It'd be technocracy, I believe. And it sort of intrigued me. I got thinking about it. So I thought for the learn part of my Burn Alert today, I looked up some stuff about it. And one of the things I thought was kind of interesting was that basically, Russian communism was originally supposed to be a technocracy. The idea was to bring in experts, scientists who could basically approach society as a use the scientific method to solve scientific problems. So it's sort of one of the it's really the big example of what they would consider a technocracy. So I thought that was kind of cool. And the other thing I thought was neat was when the guy first came up with it, this Californian scientist who I think who first I guess got it out into the modern world. His suggestion, which I just love the idea of, it's so scientist, is that instead of money, you'd have energy. So you'd have energy that you would then share with your population. You'd split it up depending on, so I guess what their contributions were. Oh my God, I can't speak. Contributions were. I don't. Maybe they got a little too far up with the nasal thing this morning. I did a COVID test today, so I assumed I would have to go and do it. But Apple is now the Apple TV folks, I guess, have started sending vans around with techs in them to go and do the swabs. So I got that done today. The irony being is I'm on another show as well for another network. I think the other one's MGM, I think. Not Stargate, sorry folks. But it's pretty great. And so those I have to go and actually test for. But I'm doing 3 tests in the next 4 days, so it's kind of bizarre. Hello, Ben Master. How are you, Ben Master? So there you go. I don't know if Imperador has actually checked in with us or not yet. But Imperador, thank you for that Technocracy comment yesterday, because it got me thinking, and I got looking, and I learned something. And I was like, whoa, learning something, always fun. I'm not used to this position today. I'm not used to this having it on my desk like this. It's kind of nice in here, isn't it? You see why I like to hang out in this space. I've got robots that blink and look at you every so often. I got wooden deer heads and robots, and yeah. Have you watched Kiss the Ground documentary on Netflix yet? No, I haven't, Megan. What is it about? What is it about, this documentary of which you speak? What other things of interest do I have to tell you? MailChimp. So I've started doing, I have a mailing list. I think I've talked about this. Don't go rushing off to the Tech Bandits just now for it, but I'll try to put a link up to it. But I'm very good, Albie. Thank you. How are you doing? From Italy. Oh, Italy, wonderful place. Groovy lighting, Mr. McKay, isn't it? Funky, man. It's very sort of Blade Runner, you know. Yeah, isn't it? That's kind of like that. It's about soil and regenerative farming. Ooh, I like that. I do like that. All right, I'll have to see that. Oh, Kenny. I was supposed to do a Fringe. I was supposed to do a Fringe episode, and I bailed on it because there was a ton of prosthetics there. There was so many prosthetics, and I just couldn't face this entire face covered thing. And so I was very, very kindly, J.H. Wyman, who's was it W.H. Wyman? What he calls himself now? Anyways, I knew him as Joel way back in the old acting days. Brilliant writer, absolutely brilliant. I really want to hate him, but I can't because he's actually a nice guy. He's written some amazing stuff, including The Mexican. He wrote The Mexican. Just fantastic writer. Anyways, I met him I saw him again in a restaurant, said hi with another friend, and he sort of did the usual Hollywood thing where it's like, oh yeah, man, we'll get you on Smith. We got to get you on Fringe sometime, And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Sure enough, a week later, I get a call saying, will you do this episode? And I really wanted to do it, but I couldn't, where I was in my life, I couldn't face the idea of having to get up really, really early and having all this makeup put on so that no one would even see my face anyways. And the kid was new and all that stuff. So I was, I was in a different place. I'll probably do it now. I got prosthetic. Well, I say that. I don't know what they're changing it, so who knows? But I don't think I'm too covered in stuff. Anyways, easy to forget how long prosthetics take in the chair for us watchers. Yeah. I mean, it can be amazing, and it's a really cool experience. My concern was just is it every day? Is it how much was involved? You never really know, but I really wanted to do Fringe, so I sort of kicked myself for not being able to do that. Hello, Maker. How are you, Maker Viking? Arr, no, it's a pirate, isn't it? Arr is not going to work there. Something like that. Wow, Rar says, you've been my favorite actor since 2007. Woohoo! Love your work. Wish we could see more of you. Oh, well, yeah, I wish we could see more of me too. I feel like I work. I feel like I work enough. I enjoy it. Well, cool. So you see me here. I mean, I don't have any acting to do for you, other than just hanging out all sweaty post exercise. Now, I should say, I've had a bit of a break, so that's why I'm not so sweaty today. As I say, I had this COVID test. This flowing blue plastic angel appeared at my door, and all covered in all the COVID PPE stuff. Very sweet. I offered to make her coffee because I said like I can put a mask and a shield on, and I'll boil the water and pour it over the cup and stuff if she wanted a coffee. Um, I sort of texted her that before she came by, and she's like, "No, thank you very much. It's very sweet, but no, thank you." And she arrived, and the poor woman is car sick, so she gets terrible motion sickness, and of course she's not allowed to ride in the front because the drivers, it's all transport department, the drivers are all in their own little plexi things. So the poor woman's stuck in the back of the vehicle driving around Toronto, doing these COVID tests, and so I was like, "Yeah, Ginger, I hope that test will be negative." Yeah, me too, Christoph. It'd be a problem if it wasn't, but you know what? This is the great thing is they can catch it. They can catch it before it becomes a problem if this is the case. And of course, it got me thinking, why don't we do that? You know, the Apple has a lot of money, but so does the Canadian government. And I thought, why the heck why don't we have mail-in tests? Or why don't we have me in an RV driving around, or a big ice cream truck, driving around a bunch of medical techs who can just leap out of the car and do COVID tests, just drive down the street like a freaking knife sharpener, or an ice cream truck, like someone else suggested, and we'll play the Stargate theme, and people will run out to see McKay driving badly, illegally parking, and then having nurses leaping out and doing the COVID test. I just thought, why not? I mean, like, how hard could that be? And also, how expensive? In that, the reality is, if you did it that way, wouldn't you be? You'd have to pay for the healthcare workers for sure. That's fine. Okay, so but you're paying for them anyways, really. And then the tests wouldn't be any more expensive because I could deliver them. Well, not me, but someone would deliver them. But I'd be happy to. Like, if I was free, I'd be happy to do that. It's the only skill I've got. I can drive. I don't think I can. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to drive. Are you allowed to drive ice cream trucks if you only have like a regular license? Maybe it'll be like a rickshaw. It'll be maybe I'll be pedaling my rickshaw. Even that, I'd probably get the robot. You know what? I'd get my robot to do the pedaling of the rickshaw for me. And then in fact, I wouldn't even be there. I just have the robot. You know what? I wouldn't do it. What am I saying? I'm a coward. But I just think I just don't understand why our medical system isn't doing this, why our government hasn't leapt on this. Why are little old ladies lining up to get COVID tests, when I've got, plastic covered angels showing up at my house to get it done. I know it's money, but it's not like the Canadian government doesn't have money. I mean, I know because I give them a lot of it myself. So I just I feel like maybe now's the time to let some private stuff get in here. Like, why don't we have a company do this? Why don't we hire a company, or why don't we let people hire? Like, if we let people hire a company for the film industry, then why couldn't like a neighborhood get together and go like, all right, everyone pitch in like $100 or $50 or whatever. Anyone who can't pay is covered in whatever the fee is, and we'll hire David in his RV and his robot to drive around, and people can get their COVID test or something. It just seems like I don't understand this ridiculous attitude towards this pandemic that we have had from day one, which is basically like, oh, look what's happening over there, eh? Oh, hold my timbit. America's in trouble, eh? Ha ha, losers. We're fine up here. Well, we're only fine up here until we're not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm struggling with it. I'm finding it frustrating. I mean, I know America's having a lot of trouble with this. I know London is. We're just talking with a friend in London who's saying that London's struggling with it as well. But they got vaccinations. Admittedly, they're a country that fits in the tiny small bottom of Ontario, our province. Admittedly, it's a tiny England, tiny. It's ridiculous, but it's a lot of people. I just don't feel like we're doing enough. I mean, I feel like we've let the people in long-term care down. I feel like my parents are stuck at home. They have no idea when there's going to be a vaccination for them. Both of them are high risk, absolutely high risk for this stuff. And they're terrified, and that's going to have an impact on things as well. I just, and I know I'm not saying poor me. I'm worried that we're not doing enough. And we're so late in the game making these stupid freaking announcements about whether we should be back in school or not. It's like maybe spend some freaking time figuring out how to vaccinate and test people so that we can get kids back at school without it putting everyone in the household at risk. Anyways, oh, it's rant time. David's on a rant. Hold my timbits, eh? I got a coffee. I gotta give me my eggs side by each, sunny side, facing the sky with bacon parallel, eh? That's my Canadian accent, by the way. It's terrible. I'm so bad at accents. I should never. Too little, too late, and too many U-turns by the straw-haired buffoon here. Yeah, I mean, here's the problem, though. I wish it was just the leaders. I wish it was just those single figures that you could blame for all this stuff. The reality is that we have this ridiculous bureaucracy in place. We have this slow-moving, glacially slow-moving, ridiculously inefficient, completely influenced by money and four-year voting systems. They're more concerned about what they're, whether they're going to get voted in or not, or whether people live or die. And I find that frustrating, very frustrating. Everyone, whenever I complain about Canada, everyone says, "What are you going to do? Move to the States?" I'm like, well, I've lived in the States and I've lived in England and I've lived here. And, I do think England is, I'm amazed at the healthcare system in England. It has huge freaking problems, as does Canada, as does America. They're different problems, but there are huge problems with it. I don't understand why we don't want to make it better. Like, why are we constantly comparing? I feel like it's like this sleight of hand that we're being pitched this crap about how, well, at least we've got free healthcare here. Free healthcare is useless. Useless. If you can't get us vaccines, not us, I don't care about me, I'm talking about the old folks. God, that's a good coffee. Technical issues, spinning. The government disconnected me. There you go. Okay, you want to hear really creepy? I'm back, yes. Okay, so you want to hear creepy? So I did that tech bandits. I did that Burn Alert the other day, and I was talking about China, and I said some negative things about China, as I said about the States, as I said about Canada. I struggle with government a lot. I'm not saying I'm an anarchist or anything, but I struggle with the way the systems of government. I struggle with politicians, basically. And I got this invite to Hong Kong to go and speak and to attend the opening of this community center for kids in Hong Kong, where the I don't know what the term for the leader there would be, where she's going to be there, and it was just the weirdest, oddest, generic kind of email, and I thought, oh, it must be just junk, but it was email. It was directly to me. It had my full name in it, as well as my business address. Business email address. It also went to my agent. It also went to Jane, who is also sort of classified as an agent, or in my sort of business circles. So it sounds like it's a legit invite, but I was like, I went and I looked at the company, and I was like, something feels weird here. And I mean, not to be paranoid. I'm not saying that I'm being tracked by China or anything, because the funny thing is, is that of anyone, I may be a little bit more pro-China to some extent because of my interest in just how they make that crazy huge country work. Again, I mean, human rights aside, their track record with that stuff is continually horrific. But anyways, point being is that, so I got this invite, and I just thought that was the weirdest thing. And but I decided I'm gonna say no to it, though I love Hong Kong. Hong Kong is one of my favorite places in the world. We visited there, Jane and I, years and years ago, and it was just, oh God, it's extraordinary. Very different place now, I imagine. But I don't like the idea of supporting the existing politicians who are supporting this very sort of pro-China approach and anti-democracy take on the students and stuff. So I don't think I will be attending that. But I've got to say, I was quite, I got to say, flattered to be invited to talk about education and children and the future of that sort of stuff in a city like that. I just thought was kind of cool. But as I say, I would be very nervous about supporting supporting any political stuff there right now. It makes me very nervous. Anyways, so back to the first thing I was talking about was this mailing list. So I've had to pull down my MailChimp mailing list because we got all messed up. I ended up emailing everybody we've ever met ever about Tech Bandits in a little friendly, like, hey, what do you think of these robots kind of thing? And of course, it caused chaos for poor Jane and her whole business emails and family stuff and all that kind of jazz. Like, getting people like, yeah, what? I haven't been emailed for like, you don't talk to me for like 40 years and then I get a freaking promo email, that kind of stuff. I just felt really bad about it. Anyways, point being is I have taken all of my Tech Bandits contacts out of the MailChimp program, mailing list program that we use for our company, or that Jane uses for the company. She just does basically once or twice a year. She'll just send a little hello out and say hi and a little photo of the family or something, that kind of stuff. I like to do very random Tech Bandits mailings where I just go like, oh my God, this is so cool, look at this. Then I send some links and that kind of stuff. So really fun. I like stuff that I get excited about. I like to take a couple of weirdly disconnected things and sort of shove them together into an idea, and it's really fun. So here for four things: hair, t-shirt, mug, rant. There you go. I got them all. What can I say? So I've pulled all of my data. I pulled all of the people who have signed up for my Tech Bandits mailing list. Don't go to the techbandits.com and sign up right now because it's not going to work. In fact, I think I've pulled all the links because I have to as I said, I'm resetting it up. I'm thinking about going back to MailChimp, setting up my own little MailChimp account, and just starting again with this core group. And then I will put out a call to everybody to sign up because I would like to get on a mailing list, because the other thing I'm very concerned about of late is this reliance on these big established systems like YouTube and Twitch and well, even MailChimp to some extent, I suppose. But the idea that this, like, it's my list of people that want to talk about robots with me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that to be everybody. I love the accessibility of this. I love the fact that we can have, like, Jesus, 101 people, chatting about my pathetic workout. I love this, being able to do this, but I'm concerned that, what happens if they make a political decision I don't like Facebook, for example, which I don't know what to do about Facebook either, because is anyone on Facebook anymore? Like, I feel like, I felt like for a long time, most of the Stargate people were on Facebook, and that's where I was sort of able to connect with a lot of them. But I really don't like what they're up to. So I don't know. Anyways, so what else to talk about? So I'm going to do this. So I'll do this MailChimp thing, I think. But if anyone's got another suggestion, something else that they like better. Oh, really? I really use Facebook a lot. Oh, Tobias does. Okay. All right. So maybe, all right. Okay. A little big on Facebook, but now on Instagram and a bit on Twitter now. Interesting. I stay off Bookface. Oh, yeah, me too. Old get what games. Yeah, I just honestly I post on it because I know there's some people who I won't be able to reach otherwise. So that's where I tend to post there as well. But I've sort of been I'd love to consolidate, because I think it's also ridiculous that we have so many freaking little tags. You gotta, like, you follow me here, tweet me here, gram me here, and face me over here. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many things now. I like Twitter because I feel it is like a mailing list. It's a very easy way for me to just get my thoughts out and just let people know you're thinking about them, or respond to people and say hi. And it's also fantastic for making connections for Tech Bandits and stuff, right? I've just met so many tech people that are just fantastic because of that. So speaking of which, anyone in Toronto who knows Enable, please let me know. Anyone who knows the company called Enable, enablethefuture.org, I believe it is, or enablingthefuture.com, one of the two, I can't remember. But they are this 3D printing arm company. You can 3D print arms for kids who need them, or grown-ups who need them, people with partial hands or partial limbs and stuff, whether that's due to war or disease or issues at birth, whatever. I mean, so I would really like to find someone for my friend to talk to for an interview thing that they want to do, because I think it would be good publicity for them, first off, and also I want them to do this part about it because I love the company. Does mining on my PC make me scum? No. Rail Fanny, no, I love that stuff. Are you kidding? I mean, I don't do it, but I think the reality is, I think the technology is fascinating. I think that's, Baz was asking me why did I invest in Ethereum, and I didn't. I really didn't. Honestly, I literally dabbled in it. I literally bought up $350 of Ethereum because it was. I just wanted to try it. I wanted to experience the process of going and setting up an account and finding a cryptocurrency and then investing it. I just wanted to see what that was like. I do not want to bet the family savings on it. I'm not going to do that. I don't have the money to do that. But I felt like, $350, you know, we haven't gone out a lot. So we probably saved a lot of money on that. So I figured like maybe I'll just do that. I also, don't tell Jane this, but I also invested in a few Lego figures as well, a Lego minifigures, because I want to see, if there's any kind of, I'm sort of pitching it as a Tech Bandits thing, sort of, where I want the kids to realize the concept of speculation, that you can invest in cryptocurrency, you can invest in Lego minifigures, and you see which ones are worth more in, 6 months, a year, whatever, which ones become rare, which ones become popular, why do they become popular? And just this whole idea of trying to gauge this stuff. And again, my big lesson to myself and everybody is, when there's a gold mine on, sell people pickaxes and shovels. You don't want to be in the mines. You want to be selling them water bottles and maps and all sorts of that kind of stuff. So I just feel like the kids should learn this, that, don't throw yourself into everything everyone else is doing. Do a little research, figure out where you fit. And maybe investing in Bitcoin is the way you go. I think I love the idea of the mining because, frankly, if it makes sense, if your power is cheap enough that it works for that, I think it's fantastic. Why not? I mean, the whole point of Bitcoin, basically, for those of you who don't know, and if I get this wrong, obviously, please correct me. The idea of the whole Bitcoin thing is this mining is basically doing all the banking work that the bank charges you for. So basically it's a distributed system, a distributed ledger basically, that makes sure that all of these transactions are kept up to date and that they're kept legit and there's no funny business going on. And you, by allowing your computer system to process this information as part of the Bitcoin blockchain, you are rewarded with potential Bitcoin mining wins, so to speak. So, and that's just how it works. And some people spend more on power than they do getting Bitcoins, but I just think it's a fascinating thing. I would look, I really, one of the things I would love to do, one of the many freaking things I would love to do is, other than build CNCs and grow mushrooms and all the things that I'm supposed to be freaking doing, and now I'm about to start filming again too, so it's gonna screw up my schedule even more. Anyways, point being, don't despair, do not go into that dark place, David. You are here having fun with people online. The point being that God, where were we? Bitcoin, Ethereum. Oh, right. I really want to create a Tech Bandits Bitcoin. Like probably based on Ethereum. I think it would be like probably an Ethereum token of some sort. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to have like a token that the kids could use in exchange and again learn the process of this, because I feel like I've kind of given up on education. I feel like education is a waste of freaking time. It's inspiration is the most important thing, because if you can inspire people, then they will educate themselves. I mean, yes, obviously you have to have education. I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater here. I'm just saying that there is no point in trying to educate people if they're not interested. And if they're truly inspired by something, then you just kick back and watch it happen. You offer advice that is generally not wanted. The kids don't want to hear it. They don't want to know what you think. They want to figure stuff out themselves. So I feel like my job, luckily, because I don't know anything, is to not know anything and yet to be interested in things. And I find that my interest in things and not answering things for kids or not knowing the answer is really freaking sort of advantageous to their learning process. So absolutely fascinating. I love it. I said to Jane this morning, I said, I wake up every morning slightly excited about what I'm going to find to talk about with the Tech Bandits, or or excited to delve into the mysteries of mailing lists and the technical side of that, or how on earth am I going to build this CNC printer and where, CNC router and where, or what's the best way to set up the mushroom farm. This is so wonderful to me. And people say, do you love acting? I love acting because acting allows me to do this. I can go in and act. Like, I've got an episode of a show coming up. I do 1 day's work, but I get paid for the episode. So it's because they don't know when they're going to need me or not need me, and they have to book me. And of course, if I'm booked, I can't do something else. So they have to sort of block this time off. And so I just, I'm very, very lucky. So that when I'm working, I can, I'm happy to pour anything I can into time, energy, money, whatever, into making the Tech Bandits happen, because I just freaking love it. It's entirely selfish. What I'm struggling with now is, how do I expand this? How do I get more kids involved? How do I, what did I say? God, I had the great term. It was like, make locally, inspire globally, that kind of stuff. Like, that's what I'm really looking forward to doing. So anyway, and I really appreciate everyone. I get a lot of people emailing or texting or messaging or tweeting or whatever, saying like, oh, I've got this, can I help? And I'm sorry if I don't get back to you right away. It takes me a long time to plow through even just the stuff on my to-do list, let alone all these fantastic suggestions and offers and stuff that people have made. So there you go. As an actor, you're a fantastic user to teach online. Thank you. I mean, it's like, one of the things that I've resisted for a long time is the idea of teaching acting or teaching film and television stuff, because I feel like that's my other life. It's like, I don't want to, I talk about that all the time. But I'm beginning to realize now that there are some fantastic connections between that industry and inspiration. People want to be like famous YouTube streamers or movie stars or pop stars or sports stars. I can't help them with the sports stuff. I got nothing for them on that. There's other places to go for that for sure. I mean, unless you want to be fit like me. But I can help with the film and TV stuff, and maybe help push people in the right direction for that. I mean, I did a lot of thinking about yesterday, because I was suggesting to a lot of people yesterday that script coordinator was the way to go, or script supervisor was a great way to go and get into the industry. And my wife and I were just discussing it. I was saying, like, it's actually like, that's a really neat kind of thing to know. And we only know that because we make films. I mean, that's, so in fact, the next show I go to, which will be, I think, a filming on Wednesday next week, the next filming I go to, I'm going to talk to the script supervisor and say, hey, what do you think about this? And well, she's going to hate the idea. She's going to hate the idea that I'm suggesting to everyone to become a script supervisor, because then she's going to have a harder time getting a job. Maybe I won't mention that part. Maybe I'll just ask her about being a script supervisor and see what she thinks. Think about getting into voiceover, voice acting. Oh, fantastic. Well, great suggestion for that I heard recently. Actually, I think the suggestion originally was, somebody said about something else. Somebody said it about songs that people were writing, like, what would you do if you, editing, that's it, it was editing. Someone was saying, like, take a movie, re-edit it to learn how to edit. And I thought, wait a second, what if you took anime, like, because anime is a great, series of voiceover opportunities. Why don't you take the sound out of an anime cartoon and just do the voice of that and use that for your demo reel? Because the whole thing with the voiceover stuff now is that you can do that. Like, the tools and technology here, as I say that, I go, oh my God, I still haven't figured out that stupid voiceover that I was supposed to do for everyone here. I was supposed, for my $5 Patreon people, $5 Patreon folks, and I haven't even figured out how to get in touch with everybody on the Twitch stream. I was recording their name and creating an answering machine message for them, because I thought that'd be kind of fun for them to have, and just a way to sort of give back. Because people give me money for Tech Bandits, and I feel bad that all I've got is the sweaty meat talking to them. I mean, so I was hoping I could do that for them. I'm struggling though because you've got trying to edit that many. There's 3 options of voice messages, and of course you got to splice in the name for each one. Otherwise, you've got to record it every time, and that is just, forget it. It would take so freaking long. So I thought, I'll record 3 of them, place the names in. Oh my God, it's like a freaking nightmare. This is classic ADHD, where you don't see how much work is involved, you constantly underestimate how much time things take to do, and you're constantly overdoing with all the things you're trying to do at the same time. So anyways, I need to do a TED talk. Yeah, what not to do, what TED shouldn't do. May I suggest patrons just pick one choice? That's true, Tammy. That is a good point. If they did though, but that's the other problem, is the logistics of that are almost even worse, because people pick the ones that they liked. And I thought, oh great, that'll be easier. It's not easier. It's actually easier for me just to put them in all three and then have them all listed. So well, maybe there's some sound editors out there or something that can help me with that. Maybe there's somebody who actually does this. That's a thought. I didn't thought of that. I could just hire someone to do it. But then it's costing, I don't know. We'll see. And also, I just feel there's this weird thing about working with people who are sort of part of the fan community. I feel like there's a weird back and forth there. I don't want to feel like I'm, it can feel often like, that I don't want to be using people, if that makes sense. I get very nervous about that. I'm also a total control freak, so I like to do everything myself. All right. Actually, you inspired me to study computer science and create a YouTube channel and Twitch. Thank you for all. Oh, fantastic. Emperador. I don't know if you missed this or not, Emperador, but I was singing your praises just earlier because you made me go and look up Technocracy, and which led me down a little rabbit hole into sort of how the Soviet Union was originally conceived of as a technocracy that obviously didn't go that way. But the idea of like approaching social problems through the lens of the scientific method, and this brilliant concept, which I freaking still love, the idea of being paid in energy instead of stupid little green bills flapping around, or stupid money that doesn't mean anything to anybody. Anyways, so just the idea of like energy. I had a friend who wrote a series, or maybe it was a film, and the idea was that I think they actually ended up making a film, probably ripped them off, about the idea that you got paid in time. So you got to live longer depending on how much you contributed to society. Otherwise, you sort of had a drop dead date, literally, which I just thought was kind of cool too. So, all right, I'm approaching 40 minutes. I'm sure I'm boring everyone to sickness. I can't even speak. See, what's the point? I'll take payment in yoo-hoo. Any advice on starting a Twitch channel? Chelsea, good question. My advice is just start doing it. And which sounds silly, but the reality is I put it off for a long time. I was terrified of this whole live thing. And my son, he opened my eyes, because he was just like, let's do it. Like, they don't understand the repercussions. They don't know what could go wrong. I was thinking about all the things that could go wrong. And the reality is just getting on there and starting stuff is fantastic. And when you do, let me know, because one of the things I do really like to do, one of the ways I feel like I can give back is to help let people know about other channels that are going on. So as long as I see people, doing the work and not ripping people off or stuff, I'm happy to promote those channels. And obviously I've got a little bit of an audience, you know what I mean? So I figured like I should sort of spread that around a bit. So I thought that would be kind of fun. We did that with a kid on YouTube the other day, where the dad was on. I was on Reddit trying to get some information about promotions and marketing for a content creation site. Again, wondering how I can turn Tech Bandits into a for-profit company, but then that puts the money back into the Tech Bandits so that we can make money to buy more cool things, and then I get paid in cool things that I get to play with that are still actually the Tech Bandits, and it's theirs to play with as well. So that's my idea. So the Twitch thing, sign up, start doing it, because you just won't learn until you're actually on there doing it. And there is a fantastic channel on YouTube called, I think it's Alpha Gaming or Alpha Gamer, one of the two. And he's a musician. He may actually be moving on now to back to music again, but he's a musician who offers some really great advice on how to get into the whole thing and how to do it properly. Barnacles is really good too. He's been through all this stuff as well. I'm always a little reticent to send my Tech Bandits to Barnacles, because much as I love him, he's less child friendly, shall we say, than perhaps, the uptight Mr. Hewlett is. So, but yeah, Alpha Gamer, I think it is, or Alpha Gaming. Maybe someone could have a look and see if that's the case. But like, good-looking, pop star-looking blonde kid who is just, God, he's got his head screwed on straight. I mean, just really very, 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 very savvy stuff on that. That is absolutely my favorite resource for that stuff. Because the other thing is, it doesn't have to be Twitch. It could be YouTube as well. I've been very surprised. I mean, I get, I find that this is very responsive in a way that sometimes Twitch isn't. But Twitch is also, I tend to do really long sessions on Twitch, at least a couple of hours, and it's very meandering and stuff. And what I'm looking for now is an editor to come in and help cut to the good stuff, and sort of package stuff together into clear sort of concepts and things. So yeah, looking to expand that. But and a lot of my advice I've got from that Alpha Gaming guy. So definitely check that out. I will try to find. I can't do anything on this stupid phone while this is happening. I love Barnacules. I do love Barnacules. It just, as I say, he's not always suitable for work, shall we say. David, can't you set up a program where they choose options to make their own message? I can, Xenos. Is it Xenos? Is that right? If I got that right? John, sorry, just in case I got the wrong handle on that. Yeah. All right, Lexi K, have a good one. Thanks for joining us. Trying to get film students to edit for you as part of their film projects. That's possible, but again, it's not film editing, right? I mean, film editing is a very different process, and I don't want a film editor. If I was going to write an ad for who I want a teenage, savvy, funny editor. That's it. I mean, the editing is almost apart from it, because the reality is I think anybody can get to the point where they can cut stuff together. Nothing that I need done is particularly complicated, nor do I want it to be particularly complicated, because one of the other things I've discovered with the kids is that they don't want glossy. If it's glossy and overproduced and stuff, they know they're being sold something. And the whole point with this is I do not want to sell them education, because if I sell them if I start educating them, I lost them. All I can do is basically I feel like is just sort of hang on to the boat. I'm like that water skier that fell down and no one told them to let go. Like no one told me to let go when I first water skied. I was like, just hang on, you can do it. Like it's like you're sucking up the lake as you're going. That's basically how I do Tech Bandits. I'm just hanging on to the back of the boat, trying to avoid sucking back too much lake water. I love Stargate because of you. I love Stargate because of me. It's true. It's a good choice. I mean, that's really why. Isn't that why people come to Stargate? Miniature Adventures. Okay, geeky fan question. Do you ever do signed photos? I used to. My father-in-law was brilliant about that. He used to go through all my mail for me and set it all up so that I could just sign stuff and send it off. We did that for a while, and it just became absolutely overwhelming. And my concern was that to get 10, 20 photographs out to people would mean that I don't have time for this. And I felt that my best way of giving back is that, no, you can't have a signature perhaps, but at least you get time to actually talk with me, sort of, or for me to talk at you, as the case may be. I should figure something out for signed photos, I guess, because I understand wanting to have like something. I want the atoms. I understand that. But I'd have to figure out how to charge for it. Everything just feels. Maybe there's a way. Maybe it could be like a Tech Bandits. Maybe I could have like a Patreon. Not Patreon is the wrong page because not everyone wants to subscribe. Maybe there's a way to have like a donation or something where you donate a certain amount and the money would go to Tech Bandits and I would be happy to sign stuff. I'm happy to sign stuff. I just found that doing it for one person was basically excluding so many other people as well. And often the people with money get access. It's one of the things I don't like about the conventions as well, is that I just worry about this access through cash to people. It's one of the reasons, and I apologize for not being a part of these online convention things, but I just feel like this is my convention. Like this is my private VIP room. You know what I mean? You want to talk to me, you want to throw a question at me, I may or may not get to it. I'm not going to promise I'm going to get to everybody, and I'm not going to promise I'm going to do everything everyone asks. Dance, monkey, dance. But at least I can be here and do this, if that makes sense. The reality of all of this, though, is that I'm only here so that everyone knows that I've exercised and I can feel good about it, and then I know that if I don't exercise, people get mad at me, and then So basically, this is just to guilt me into exercise. All right, I should wrap it up because I'm babbling on. It's 3/4 of an hour. Oh my God. Okay, I'm not going to reply to you anymore. Sorry, this is going nowhere. What? What's happened? Was there a drama? Did I miss a drama? I love how you interact with people here and that you are willing to talk. Whoa, so fast, so many questions. Not questions, so many comments. Firefly69, gotta love Firefly. I love how you interact with people here and that you are willing to talk about and answer endless questions about Stargate. Look, I love Stargate. I mean, I don't, like, Stargate built the house we're living in. Didn't build it, but it paid for the house I live in. It allows me to raise my kid and during a pandemic send to a private school. You know what I mean? Like, just I realized I told him I was like, dude, you're going back to public school next year because we can't afford this. But at least it's, you know, I mean, I am very, very lucky. I owe a lot to Stargate. You know, I like to remind people that I was working for a number of years before Stargate, so, you know, I feel like I earned a certain amount of it. But yes, Stargate, absolutely. So you know, within reason, I'm happy to answer questions. I mean, there's sometimes it gets a bit weird when people start quoting things at you and stuff. I just, you know, there's only, you got to keep in mind that, I mean, I haven't been on that set for, what, Jane, when did I stop Stargate? I think she's gone upstairs. But I mean, how many years has it been? I mean, it's like, you know, it's been forever. But people talk about it all the time. I got no problem talking about it. I mean, you know, there's some I should probably have a frequently asked questions because the one I always get is like, when's there going to be a new one, right? Let me see. Someone already asked. I'm waiting for that. It's funny when people ask you stuff like, why did you say, yeah, no, that's it. I mean, it is odd. It ended in 2009, so I wouldn't have been on set since like probably the beginning of 2009 or maybe even the end of 2008. I mean, was it airing while we were shooting? Let's go with 2009. That's a long time. You know what I mean? Like, that is a long time. Where did I get my awesome shirt? This is a KCRW shirt. So back in the old days, in the good old days, when I made videos by the pool, in the warmth of the California sun. God, my son, so angry that we moved away from California. We're looking pretty good right now, but, you know. So back in those days, we lived across the street from Santa Monica College. And Santa Monica College houses one of my favorite radio stations of all time, which is KCRW. It is, you know, a national public radio channel out of Santa Monica, and it's just fabulous. And one or 2 years, I guess, Jane roped me into answering the phones on one of those pledge drives. Jane was, God, she's good at making me do things I don't want to do. She dragged me to this thing, and I would sit on this. I would answer the phone and get people to give me. I was actually pretty good at getting people to give me money, I got to say. Not giving me money, but giving, you know, NPR money, because I was a huge fan of NPR. To this day on Alexa, we'll say like, Alexa, play world news, and our world news is NPR news out of Santa Monica. We love, we just love that channel. So that was it. I've been on stage in a year and a half, and it's killing me. I know. We were talking about this with a friend of mine who does theater in London. I mean, I don't know when that's going to come back. I really don't know. Oh, you liked my After Stargate? Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed doing that one. I had a lot of fun with that. I have ridden a motorcycle. I used to drive a motorcycle for years, from age 16 to probably 30. My primary means of transportation was motorcycle. I didn't even know how to drive a car until I was 26 or so. So I got my motorcycle license as early as I could and drove those things. I freaking loved motorcycles. I still do love motorcycles. The reality is, I am a klutz. And as much as I'd love to be a cool motorcycle guy, I'll kill myself. I mean, I would love to do something like off-road or something that there's less chance of me being run over by someone else on the road. I would love to do some desert riding or some cross-country stuff for sure. But I just don't think the road, I just don't feel like, I thought when I moved to California, for sure, the first thing I was going to do is buy a motorcycle, cheap mode of transportation, drive around this, just amazing for getting around. Until I drove there in my little rental car, my little Kia, meep, meep. I drove around in that for a little while, and then I realized just how distracted people were on the roads. And it was just, it's terrifying. It is terrifying. I watch people like eating Sunday roast dinners while talking on the phone and doing their nails while they're driving. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I thought, I'm going to die. I'll die if I do this. So I didn't. I get a little nervous that Jane keeps saying, like, you should get a motorcycle. Because she used to ride bikes as well. One of the things I promised her was to get her motorcycle lessons so that she could actually learn how to ride a motorcycle. But maybe we'll do that this summer. You could do that socially distant. This is a perfectly socially distant thing. So as soon as the snow melts, maybe Jane and I'll go back and take a refresher on motorcycle riding. Maybe Baz could do it too. Oh my God, could you imagine that? That would actually be really cool. Huh, what a good idea. Thank you. All right, so there you go. Saw a woman eating an ear of corn on a delivery in DC, really. I have a 97 Honda Rebel. Nice. I had a Kawasaki 454. Freaking loved that bike. That was, gosh darn it, was a beautiful bike. Like sort of a wonderful sort of cherry plum, maybe plum to cherry red Kawasaki 454. Bulletproof bike, just wonderful. I then got a horrible, God, I hated it. I mean, I loved it and I hated it. A Honda Shadow. It was a 1200cc belt-driven, massive Harley wannabe, and it sucked. I gotta say, it was totally style over substance. Never should have bought it. Should have just bought a Harley. I just didn't want to save up. So I got this, and you couldn't do anything to it. One of the things I really wanted was a bike that I could, do the whole, Zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance on. I wanted to be able to take my bike apart and change the plugs and all that kind of stuff. And Honda was all, you had to take it in and they plugged it in basically, and they tune it that way. So while it was a very comfortable ride and it made a lovely lot of noise while you drove it, it just wasn't a good bike, I don't think. Maybe they're better now, and it was also massive, 1200 cc's. God. Anyways, and then I got the love of my life. I got the BMW K75, beautiful bike, inline 3. Just German precision. It was a beautiful bike, and it would not bend for anybody. It only broke. It was just like this beast. And I remember on a highway once in the middle of northern Ontario, and there was no one around, and I just opened this thing up, and it just kept going and going faster and faster. I just couldn't. I don't think I ever maxed it out. I couldn't get over it. Beautiful, beautiful bike. But again, not something you could do a lot with. Like you couldn't really. So I think if I were to return to motorcycles now, I would get something very basic that I could do all of the maintenance on. I would love to get an old BMW twin, like one of those old the BMWs with the two. The two heads. What are they called? Opposing head. Where they've got like the two things sticking out the side. I've always dreamt of getting one of those. That's been that's like, I would get one of those. I would love it. I would hold it. I would bring it into the house. I would sleep beside it every night. I almost bought one in California, but as I say, I was just too nervous about riding it as a means of transportation. Also, where am I going to go? Like, what am I going to do on a motor? Like, I just, there's also electric bikes now. I mean, they seem spectacular to me. Again, but I just don't know what you could do with them, if that makes sense. The new Honda Rebels are really nice, great for beginners. Oh, Megan, yeah. I mean, look, I looked. Honda had a Rebel. I think the Honda had a Rebel out back in the day when I was first looking, and I was looking at these sort of low bikes. I mean, the reality is, I think it's very easy to jump. I jumped from a 454 to a 1200. That was a mistake, I felt, because it just didn't. It didn't have this. It wasn't as responsive. It wasn't as easy to use. It was, the problem is you always want, as a stupid male macho idiot, you just want more and more bike. And even going to the K75, I was like, it's only 750 cc's. I'm coming off a 1200 cc. I mean, that's hardly manly, is it? So, and the irony being is, I bought that motorcycle off a man in a wheelchair. How weird's that? Yep. So the guy who worked in the shop where I bought the bike was in a wheelchair, and I don't know whether it was a motorcycle accident or what the deal was. I, of course, was far too embarrassed to ask, but there was some kind of great irony about me buying a motorcycle from a man in a wheelchair. So, look, the e-bike thing is brilliant. I mean, it just makes sense. And now I say that about having an old motorcycle. Why do we want to pollute the planet anymore? Why not just go with an e-bike? I mean, the e-bikes are just, God, that's pure torque, really. I mean, it'd be amazing. That's not just ironic, it's hilarious. Yeah, they're really reliable on my bikes to 250. Oh, look at that, 250. Is it a two-stroke or is it a four? Like, what kind of bikes are they now? So I own an e-bike. They're great. I ride it everywhere, even in the snow. I plan on building a faster one. Okay, so Michael, what are you using that you can drive in the snow? Because I would love that. Yeah, I'd love one that you could plug into a solar panel too. I mean, like electric bike just makes absolute sense. Absolute sense. I love it. My concern here is that it's just like anyone who ever got a DUI is now driving around on an electric bike in Toronto. That's basically, anyone who's lost their license is now basically hurtling around the city, plowing through parks and things on their little electric vehicles. It's a snowmobile. Thank you, J-Roar. Thank you for your snarkasm, J-Roar. E-scooters are scary. There's one that can do 80 miles per hour and literally has launch mode. Wow, yeah, I'm surprised. LOL, T.O., that's about right. Isn't it true? It's so true. Like, and someone told me that. I was like, why is everyone on an e-bike? Why does everyone on an e-bike look homeless and dangerous and erratic in their driving? And certainly from what I've seen, not to obviously to categorize everyone in one thing like that. But the reality is, there was an inordinate number of very dodgy looking people on e-bikes, and someone said, well, if you've got a DUI, you can't drive any kind of a vehicle, but you can drive an e-vehicle or an e-bike, and also you can also in many cases claim them as disability as well. So there's a lot of people who really don't need them who are zipping around on these little electric bikes because they work in the system, and why not? There's a system to work. I guess you work it. I'm glad that that's started happening in Hamilton so far. What's that, Rebel? What's happening in my Trek for 2 is the snow, but I got snow tires. Wow. I used to have a Honda MTX back in the 90s. Beautiful yellow color. Ciao, Dr. McKay from Italy. Claudio, thanks for coming by. Have a good one. I should bail. I've been in here for almost an hour now. In fact, I've been here for an hour. Holy mother, you could, boy, can I talk. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you all. I will say, be safe, be kind, be brilliant, and until we meet again, I will say cheerio and huzzah! See y'all tomorrow. Bye.